Good day everyone. So today we will present to you our repetition on the article of Hidayat. In this article, the author asks whether Southeast Asian philosophy can be recognized and accepted as part of the global philosophical traditions. To this question, we answer that it should be recognized because all cultures have valuable wisdom to offer. In other words, philosophy should not be limited to Western ideas, but should include the thoughts and traditions to people from all parts of the world, especially Southeast Asia. We say this because, first, some Western philosophers in the past dismissed non-Western traditions as inferior. Second, many Southeast Asian philosophers have been working hard to develop their own philosophical inquiry or identity. And third, recognizing these philosophies would enrich global discussions by adding new perspectives. To illustrate the first point, history shows that philosophers like David Hume and Hegel made racist statements, claiming that non-Western people were not capable of depth thinking. As for the second point, imagine a young Southeast Asian philosopher who struggles to find books about their own cultural philosophy because most academic resources can only be found on Western ideas. With regard to this third point, many people have witnessed how ideas from different cultures can help solve modern problems, such as how indigenous knowledge contributes to environmental conservation. However, other people claim on the contrary that they have experienced Western philosophy as the foundation of academic thought and see no need to change.
Concerning the second point, others object that Southeast Asian philosophy is too influenced by other traditions, like Indian and Chinese philosophy, to be considered unique. And about the third, some people cite instances when attempts to introduce non-Western philosophy in universities have faced resistance or lack of interest. To the first objection, we reply that philosophy is about the love of wisdom, and true wisdom can come from any culture, not just the West. As an illustration, take the case of African philosophy, which was once ignored but is now gaining more recognition. To the second objection, we say that every culture influences others, but that does not mean Southeast Asian philosophy is not valuable on its own. Consider the situation where languages borrow words from another. This does not mean they lose their uniqueness. As to the third objection, we assert that change takes time, but many scholars are already working to include Southeast Asian philosophy in academic discussions. At times, we have seen universities begin to offer courses in world philosophy, showing a shift towards greater inclusivity. To end, we conclude that Southeast Asian philosophy deserves recognition and should be developed further. While discussing these points, we have realized that many barriers still exist, but change is possible. We have also come to see that the more diverse voices are included in philosophy, the richer and more meaningful it becomes. Lastly, it has become clear to us that philosophy should be a shared human pursuit, not just the domain of one culture. So starting today, we will appreciate and promote the value of Southeast Asian philosophy in our discussions and studies. That's all for our repetition on the article of Hidayat.